Oh, Masood, thank you. And Jan and Techtorium, I really appreciate the sponsorship of this event. I think these are really important for us to connect during COVID-19. And I just want to wait for my screen to load. We're experiencing technical difficulties here, people. So let me just exit. Try that again. Okay, let's see how this goes. Technical difficulties from the tech investor. Love it. I say, ko tongariro te maunga, ko Waikato te awa, ko Jackson. Toka whānau to ko Matthew toka ingoa. Kia ora whānau. Yeah, I've been studying transactional competency with influence psychology for around 7 years. And the techniques I'm going to be talking about are based on process philosophy and the work of John Dewey. And some of the language I'm going to use is called transactionalism. My background is I specialize in disruption assurance. And I use these principles to run workshops and build companies. And really what I'm trying to do is expose some learning for you that you might find helpful as you're moving through the 6 phases of COVID-19. So while the other speakers today are going to talk about kind of the importance of gender diversity and ethnic diversity, and I completely agree with them. I think that if you only look at people and see them as being different because they look different from you, then you limit your effectiveness in the workplace. So I kind of want to tease this out a little bit because, of course, minorities and women in the workplace are just incredibly important. If you don't have this taken care of, then you're at a massive disadvantage in the world that we live in, right? But really, different ways of thinking are not only tied to background and to experience. I believe that your diversity actually originates from your biological orientation. So, I mean, human beings are goal-seeking animals. Our survival kind of depends on collaboration. It depends on exchange and specializations. We are at our very nature transactional, which means that we must coexist to survive. But the reality is that we have an inbuilt bias that as it originated from the moment we were born, and we really never taught to understand it. We're not taught to understand how we think. We're not really taught to understand how other people think. And that when you start to look at the way that we live and work with others, actually there are 4 distinct personality types, and each one of them is best suited to a specific domain, and they can either slow down or speed up transactions. So there are 4 domains of transaction: planning, strategy, implementation, and tactics, right? Now, let's start with planning. It's the activity that's necessary to produce a plan. Now, for this, you kind of need a judge and an inventor, right? So there are 4 distinct personality types: judge, inventor, performer, and producer is the language that I use. And that if you're looking to plan, then putting the judge and the inventor together is the ideal situation, because the judge is going to tell you about the facts and your inventor is going to create a new future for you that you didn't see previously. Now, strategy is an approach for achieving specific results, and we need to create strategy based on, you know, a distinct allocation of resources that we've come up with in our plan. And the best people to start to look at strategy are the inventor and the performer, because I tell you, your performer is incredible at narrowing down the one possibility that we should work on and making sure the rest of the team gets on board. Because I tell you, that inventor, he's still got his head in the clouds and he's off thinking about all the possibilities that could exist. Now, a tactic is how we actually describe the work that we do together. So, you know, when you start to get into this domain, you really need to work with somebody that's of the producer mindset, because they can actually figure out what you missed, and then they will figure out actually how you're going to do the work. And then the implementation is really a process of putting in place that plan. And this area is best suited to a judge, because the judge is going to start to make those assessments to figure out what worked and what didn't work. And they're going to give the information back to the inventor to start the whole process again. So by now, my aim is to kind of to show you that, you know, you can actually start to look at personalities in this framework of, you know, for example, if we're to attend a party, right? And I want you to start to listen to where you might see your colleagues or your customers or yourself in this environment. And then, because I'm going to ask you to guess which personality you relate to. And just think about this. Let's say, you know, you're going for a job interview and you're interacting from a biological perspective. You're going to start to think differently about how you might communicate with that person that is undertaking that job interview for you. Okay, so the inventor. Your inventors are probably the ones that came up with the idea for the party in the first place. They love the future. They help create pathways forward, and they're going to always tell you something new. They'll tell you how the party could go better. They're probably hogging the conversation because of the fact that they've got a bit of an ego. They're imaginative. They're optimistic. And I'll be honest with you, you need to find an inventor right now in order to figure out how to undertake your pandemic pivot. They're the one that's going to come up with the new idea, right? But the performers are the ones that are connecting people, right? They're the life of the party. They don't really talk to anybody for too long because they're too busy making connections with everybody. And they want to connect everybody in the room to make sure everybody has a good time. You've got to get your performers on board when you're undertaking a pandemic pivot. The reason for this is that they understand how the team works. They also know the right thing to say because they're proficient in mood. Okay, your producers. Without your producers, you would not have sent invitations out to the party, right? I'll be honest with you, you know, these guys are the ones that are there doing the real work. They confirmed the venue. They made sure everybody understood the time. They're probably in the kitchen taking care of catering or making the food. They make sure we've got enough glassware and chose the Spotify playlist, right? When you approach them during the pandemic pivot, they're going to tell you actually how much work is required for you to achieve the ideas and the aims that you put in place. But I hope by now you're starting to see that diversity in teams doesn't come from only what we look like or where we were born. But by understanding the biological orientation of the people around you, you'll be able to see past their color and gender. Right? So the last group of people I want to talk to you about is the judge. Judges are usually standing in groups of 1 or 2 people. They're assessing the situation constantly. Could this have been done better? Are they serving the right hors d'oeuvres? Is the drink too cold? Everybody knows the person that critiques everything. The thing is, it's not criticism. They're just stating facts that don't meet their standards. So the main idea here is to consider that you can't avoid your biology. Every conversation you have, every team you work in, and even when you're by yourself, your bias is present. So start listening to people's narratives. Are they speaking about the past or future? Are they trying to get the team on board? Or are they trying to criticize the environment? By building teams in the workplace based on diversity of biology, you will start to see past color and gender, and you'll increase your effectiveness in the workplace. If you want to connect with me and discuss this more, connect with me on LinkedIn, have a look up and see some of the things I write about on my website, blackswan.nz. Or if you're more interested in the elements of transactional competency, you can look up influence ecology, and that's where I study. Thanks very much. I really appreciate your time today.